Good morning and welcome to Yoga by Becca. Today we're going to do some vinyasa flow, so just lay down on your mat and let's just focus on our breathing. Breathing deeply in our belly, breathing deeply in and deeply out. We're going to focus mostly on the breath and doing every movement with our breath. Stay here in half Shavasana, just focusing on your body, your breath. Maybe make your inhalations deeper and longer, and your exhalations deeper and longer. Now take your right leg, place it over your left upper thigh, both feet flexed, and pull your left leg up in the air, deeply stretching your hips. In order to keep your knees safe, keep both feet flexed. Breathing in and breathing out. Relaxing in the pose. Now slowly lower the foot down and take both legs and just drop it over to your left side. Extend the right arm out and look over at your fingertips if this is comfortable for your neck to do so. Getting a nice reclined spinal twist. Now lift back up to center, and now take your left leg, cross it over your right at your upper thigh above your knee, feet both flexed, and pull your thigh closer to your chest. Thread your hands through the circle that your legs make to pull your thigh closer to you, getting a deep stretch. Breathe in deeply, exhale slowly, relaxing into the stretch. Now lay your foot down and gently roll over to your right side, extending your left arm out, and look over at your left fingertips. Now bring your legs back up to center and roll up into a cross-legged seated position, then pull it through into tabletop. Lay your feet flat on the mat Make sure your arms are square underneath your shoulders. And let's do some cat-cow. Breathe in the cow position and then exhale, rounding the back into the cat position. Breathe in cow, exhale cat, looking at your belly button. Exhale cow, breathe in cat. Sit back on your heels, flex your feet, stretching out your feet. Let's warm up the wrists by switching our body weight from the backs of our heels through and forward over top of our wrists. Also do some circles on your wrists, first clockwise, then counterclockwise. Or you could choose to do a figure 8, whatever feels best for your wrists. Now sit back, lift your hips up and back into downward facing dog, then take little baby steps to come up into forward fold. Bend your knees generously if you'd like. Let your trunk of your body and your head be heavy. Feel the deep stretch in the backs of your legs. Take some time and pedal out your feet. Make sure to keep your knees soft so you don't hyperextend. Slowly roll your body up into mountain pose. Hands reach in the sky. Pull down into prayer position at heart center. Breathing in and breathing out. Stay here for a few breaths, just noticing the way you feel, the earth underneath your feet. Just let your body calibrate itself to the surroundings. Now reach your hands high in the sky, mountain pose. Swoop down into forward fold. Look up, flat back. Then down back into forward fold. Reach back up into mountain pose. Hands back down at heart center. Now reach back up into mountain pose. Go down into forward fold. Lift halfway up with a flat back. Then melt back down into forward fold. Reach it back up into mountain pose, hands down at heart center. Now reach up to the sky in mountain pose, swoop down into forward fold, lift up halfway, melt back down. Walk your hands out in front of you a few steps until you're now into downward facing dog. Pedal out your feet. Try to elongate the back and the spine. And pedal out the feet to stretch the backs. Breathe deeply in and deeply out. Enjoy the downward facing dog and stretching out your feet, your hamstrings, your calf muscles. Curl yourself up, catch a wave and get into plank position, pushing the ground away from you. Try to keep a flat back, but push your hips up slightly. Activate your core. Breathe in and breathe out. Then transition back into downward facing dog. Lift your right leg up high in the sky. Bend the knee, stack the hips. Elongate from the tip of your toe down to your hands. Pull the knee through to touch your nose. Flex the foot and step in between your hands. Breathe in, breathe out. Straighten your front leg. If you need to, shorten your stance so that both feet are flat on the ground, facing forward. Lift up slightly, then melt back down, folding over your front leg. Square your hips and try to push your hips a little bit further back. Now slightly bend your front leg. And switch your weight over onto your hip, leaning down into a lunge, to your side lunge. Now flip back to the front of your mat. Lay your back knee on the mat into low lunge. Hands high in the sky, both hips facing the front of the mat. Arms activated, abdominals activated, squeezing your center and your hips together and your legs together to keep your balance. This is called crescent lunge. Slowly put your hands down. Lift your back knee off the mat into high lunge, and then let your front foot meet the back into plank position. Try to keep your back straight, but yet your core tight and your hips slightly up, pushing the ground actively away from you. Lean forward slightly, lower the body down, chaturanga, then lift up into cobra. Lift your chest off the mat without the aid of your hands, building strength. Then lay flat down. Push back up into tabletop and then back on your heels into child's pose. Walk your hands back to meet your knees and slowly lift up. Melt back down into child's pose. Walk your hands over to the right side of your body, getting a deep side stretch on your left side. Then walk your hands back to center. Breathing in and breathing out. And then walk your hands over to the left side, getting a deep stretch in your right side of your body. Now walk your hands back to center and lift your hips up and back into downward facing dog. Breathing in and breathing out. Lift your left leg high in the air. Bend your knee and stack your hips, elongating your back and your spine, creating length between your raised toes and your hands on the mat, feeling the connection. Lift yourself up on your toes and pull that knee in to meet your nose. Flex the foot and then step down in between the hands. Shorten your stance if you need to in order to straighten your front leg. Look up halfway and then melt back down over your thigh. Try to keep your hips squared off and try to position your hip back in its hip socket towards the back of your body. Bend your front knee slightly. Turn around and sit down on your heel into a deep stretch. Lift up and back over into crescent moon pose, raising your hands high above the air. With your core engaged, your arms engaged. Breathing in deeply and exhaling deeply. Now place your hands down on the mat. Lift the back knee off of the mat. Step the front foot to meet the back into plank position, pushing the ground away from you. Breathe in, lean forward. Exhale slowly, chaturanga. Lift up into upward facing dog. Breathing in and breathing out. Release your body back down to the mat. Push yourself up and back into child's pose. Then lift your hips up and back into downward facing dog. Breathing in deeply and exhale fully. Hop, walk, or jump up or float up to the front of the mat. Lift halfway up, flat back, then melt back down into forward fold. Lift all the way up into mountain pose. Hands touch each other in the sky. Pull them down into heart center into prayer position. Inhale, arms up to the sky. Exhale, down into forward fold. Inhale, lift up halfway, and then exhale and hop back into plank position. Inhale, rock forward, and exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, lift up into cobra or upward facing dog. Yogi's choice. Breathe in and breathe out. Then pull up your hips and set them back into downward facing dog. Hop to the front of the mat, lift up halfway flat back, melt down into forward fold. Breathing in, slowly lift up into mountain pose, hands touch, pull them down to heart center. Breathe in, hands up to the sky, exhale down to forward fold. Breathe in, halfway lift up, exhale. Hop back into plank position. Inhale, rock forward and slowly lower down into chaturanga. Lift up into upward facing dog. Push up and back into downward facing dog. Breathing in and exhaling. Spend a few moments walk your feet up to the front of the mat. Lift halfway up, flat back, melt down into forward fold. Sit back into chair position, sitting back, chest high. Try to make a straight line from your tailbone through your back to the crown of your head. Tuck your tail under somewhat. You should feel the weight of your body in the backs of your heels. Melt back down to forward fold. Lift halfway up. Hop back into plank position. Pushing the ground away from you, rock forward, lower down chaturanga. Lift up into upward facing dog, push back into downward facing dog. Breathing in and exhaling. Breathe in deeply, exhale fully. Spend some time collecting yourself and gathering your breath. Lift up the right leg, bend it, stack the hips, pull it through, touch the knee to nose. Set it down in between your hands. Lift up into high lunge. This is high lunge warrior 1 variation. Slowly bend the back knee down, then flip the back leg to where the toes point outward and switch to warrior 2. Shrug the shoulders down away from your ears. Your hands are pointed to either end of the mat. Make sure you can see your big toe on the outside or the inside of your knee and a little above your knee to protect the knee. Now, take a deep breath in, reverse the warrior, front hand comes up, back hand touches the back thigh, and then windmill the arms over. Lean your front arm on your leg. Now do reverse warrior again, but now windmill your arms forward into plank. Then pull up and back into downward facing dog. Lift your left leg high in the air, stack the hips, bend the knee. Inhale and pull it in to meet your nose. Step the left foot in between the hands. Lift arms up into crescent lunge. Bend the back knee somewhat. Keep your abs engaged, your arms strong in the air. Then flip that back foot to meet the side of the mat and transition to Warrior Two. Make sure you can look down and see the toe on the inside of the knee. Do a reverse warrior. Then lean forward with your front hand resting on the knee. Reverse warrior again. Windmill your arms down. Step back into plank position. Catch a wave back up and backwards into your downward facing dog. Hips move back. Your feet don't have to completely be on the mat, but see if you can lower your heels even further to be on the mat. Walk your feet up to meet your hands. Your feet, have them hip width apart. Grab your elbows and sway in ragdoll as we lower our heart rate down slightly. Pull your body up into mountain pose. Pull the hands down into your heart center. And let's lower ourselves down to the ground. Get into a seated position and do a few Sufi grinds. First, rotate to the left on your sits bones, then change positions and rotate to the right. Now, let's still our minds and our bodies into meditation. As we notice the changes that we feel within our body and around, noticing the energetic shifts within us and around us. Breathe in deeply and exhale. Breathe in pure happiness and light. Exhale all good things. Thank you so much for spending time doing yoga with me today. As we practice and learn yoga at home, have a wonderful day. Thank you.